You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming out and listening to The Real Short Box. My name is Donald. As always, I am the comic book guru here. I'm the smartest person here, definitely. Smarter than this guy sitting to the right of me. Your name is, sir?
You know, that might be a little debatable, but my name is Kevin. I am known as the Pontificator, the one from the Empire State.
He'll pontificate your dick off.
That is true.
And we have a guest here. We have a special guest. Go ahead and state your name, sir.
I'm Darren Manell, and it's just occurred to me, amongst all the time that I need to watch TV, movies, and stuff, we are back in fall sports season, baseball and football, so it's like, my gosh, I either have to keep up with all of it or abandon all of it.
Don't forget hockey.
But I will forget hockey.
Everybody forgets
But the
hockey.
reality of the situation is I will not forget all of it. I will just try to watch all of it. I will sleep 3 hours a night. It will be done.
Absorb everything. We are here actually today. We're going to be talking about a few ideas that we were mulling around for things that we should, not necessarily it should end on Netflix or Amazon or something, but comic book properties that we thought would make good television shows.
Good network television.
Yeah, something.
The CW, for example.
Yeah, it could be the CW. It could be NBC. Sorry, Constantine. It could be a few other things. You know, definitely any network would be happy to pick it up, and we'd be happy to let them pick it up. So, guys, if you're listening, if you think it's a good idea, reach out to us because we have these ideas. We have the ideas. We have the scripts. We have everything. We're ready. We're ready to go. We're going to pull the trigger.
Got all the plot outlines all written out.
But with that, let's get right to it. We've talked about, amongst ourselves, Warner Brothers is doing their own kind of a streaming network thing. And some of the shows they got lined up is, one of them is The Titans. It's going to be basically the Teen Titans, but a little older. Yes, we've all heard of Fuck Batman. Nightwing did say it. It happened. Another surprise would be Swamp Thing that was talked about being a series.
That is going to be awesome.
That hopefully will be very awesome.
It's been decades since we had a Swamp Thing TV show.
Yes, it's going to be extremely exciting to see something, a more modernized Swamp Thing, to see how it compares to the movies back in the day with, what was it, Heather Locklear?
Yeah. There was Adrienne Barbeau in 1981 as well. And,
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause she was in the first one, right? And then Locklear was in the second?
Yes.
Okay.
And Heather Locklear's hot.
She was, yeah, in that, definitely.
And Swamp Thing, you know, is a very powerful but also a very sympathetic character.
Oh, yeah. A great idea for a series, definitely, if you can pull off the effects. Hopefully Warner Brothers is willing to put a little money into it.
Don't get too cheap.
Wasn't Swamp Thing killed in the Monster Squad?
I think that was Gill Man, technically.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because originally the idea for Monster Squad, they were trying to use that. That was an original world-building scenario. You know, like Marvel did it best, right? But Monster Squad was one of the earlier ones to do it. They wanted to actually, Fred Decker and Shane Black, they actually wanted to create Monster Squad and then branch off and do the individual movies of the monsters. This was their Universal Monster movie, whole world building event, and that was what it was supposed to be based off of. I don't think Monster Squad did as well as they thought it would, and therefore it fell through, and they weren't able to work with any of the characters. But how cool would that have been?
Oh yeah,
to see Dracula and Frankenstein's monster and Gillman and all that shit back alive in the 80s. In the classic 80s of we can say whatever the hell we want and get away with it. Those 80s.
Oh, I love the 80s.
The on PC 80s where you can just, Wolfman has nards, kick him there. It's done. Guy's got balls, kick him in the balls.
And then Chuck Norris steps in.
And then Chuck Norris steps in.
But what shows, what other shows were you looking at there? I'm very curious.
Well, what I was thinking of, first of all, like when Kevin came to me with this idea, I was like, that's actually a really good idea. And then I started thinking about characters that I want to see. And the strangest character came to my head. It just popped right in. And I was like, I would love to see an animated version of Detective Chimp. Now, I don't know if you guys know a lot about Detective Chimp, but he's literally a chimpanzee that is a master detective. Supposed to be brighter than Bruce Wayne, than Batman. as far as his detective skills. He's supposed to be the best detective there is, technically. But he's also a chimp, which is crazy. And he talks. So I thought, well, the best way to do it would probably be animated and, kid it up a little bit, a la Batman the Brave and the Bold. But then have, like, other caricatures in their characters that are also anamorphic, For example, you would put the Tiger character from Shazam, from Captain Marvel. He would be in there. Crypto from Superman would be in there. That kind of stuff. He'd put in the animals of the DC world, but also include, their, so to speak, masters, I guess, without sounding, idiotic. But yeah, and then like maybe him helping other detectives figure stuff out. They come to him. He's like a private eye that solves stuff.
Now, forgive me, my mind might be in the gutter a little bit, but over the weekend I was out visiting some future family, and we were playing this game called Things, and what you do is you ask a question like, things you would not do, blah, blah, blah. And you write something down and you have to guess who says it, right? Mm-hmm. For some reason, they all work in the medical field, so there was a lot of reference to poop. So where I'm going with this is, what are your thoughts on Detective Chimp maybe being a little bit like Archer, so you can get some of those jokes where he's slinging feces or, doing weird things like that?
You know what? That's not a bad idea. I didn't think of that, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, you could put it on FX. It's not necessarily going to go there because that's now a Marvel property, which is a Disney property.
Soon to be.
So, that's a really good idea. You could put it on a Warner Brothers more adult network time, and where
or Hulu.
Occasionally he flings poop.
Or you could put it on Hulu.
Yeah, you could put it on Hulu or anything like that. Warner Brothers, they'll put stuff on there. That would be a great idea. I like the idea. I think Detective Chimp should be done. Guys, if you're listening, producers, come to me. I have these ideas. They're just falling out of me. So walk around. You can just scoop them up.
And he'll work for the Writers Guild.
So wait, something's falling out of you. You're scooping it up.
Yeah, we're talking about poop.
Detective Chimp.
Yeah, we're talking about poop. Detective Chimp. Oh, sorry to interrupt, everyone. Just wanted to mention real quick about a shop in Canoga Park, California called Spiro's Heroes. Elliot, the proprietor of the store, has over 300,000 books in what's called the Temple of Comics. That's Spiro Heroes in Canoga Park, spirosheroes.com. Kevin, did you have anybody that you were thinking of?
Yes. Something that's very dear to your heart.
Uh-oh.
Very dear to your heart.
Uh-oh.
So dear to your heart, it's more important than even Bruce Campbell.
Oh.
Ted Kord.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, it had to be the Blue Beetle.
Yes. I think a Blue Beetle TV series on the CW would work very well.
You know what I heard? Originally, that the character of the Atom, they were going to do Ted Kord, and then they changed their minds because they were thinking about doing a movie. Mm. And so they changed it over to the Atom. And Brandon... Ralph. Mm-hmm. Was supposed to originally play Ted Kord, and then he did the Atom. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I heard through the grapevine. Which actually, that would have been perfect casting, because he would have been a great Ted Kord, to be honest. He's a great Atom, Ray Palmer, but he would also have been a great Ted Kord. But yeah, I mean, I could see that. They actually mention Ted Kord a lot in Arrow.
Did they now?
Yeah, because not necessarily Ted himself, but they talk about Kord Industries all the time.
So it's a little Easter egg.
Yep, little Easter eggs that you see. So it wouldn't be hard. You're right. It wouldn't be hard to bring him into the CW universe, and you could get rid of Supergirl. You could get rid of that.
Sir, what you just said.
That
some people in our audience might think what you just said was sexist.
No, it's not so much sexist. It's just
get rid of the girl.
It's not good. You can get rid of Arrow, too. I'm down with that. Just keep Legends and keep The Flash and bring in a couple new ones.
Take it from a guy who spent 5 days on the Supergirl pilot. I didn't think it was good then, and I still don't think it's good. My opinion.
Sir, you're going to be attacked for being a sexist.
Okay, so she's a great Supergirl. And if they, like the guy that plays John Constantine, he's a great John Constantine. Put him in they finally figured it out. He's going to be in Legends in the coming up here.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he's in Legends tomorrow.
So the actors themselves aren't the problem, just the writing's terrible.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just the writing's really, really bad. Really bad. So do something else. Spin it, Add somebody. If Supergirl's tanking, at the beginning of season 2, they added Superman. Didn't work for me, but it worked for some people, and that's good. Darren, did you have anybody?
Here's the thing. I didn't want to quite go there. I wanted to maybe go a little different here. So, of course, one of my favorite lines in a superhero movie was Tim Burton's Batman when Jack Nicholson says, "This town needs an enema." And back to poop.
Back to poop.
Here's my thing. After watching episodes of the Krypton TV series, I really came to an epiphany. We are very oversaturated with superhero shows, but that's not what I don't like. I don't like that most of them are not very good. That's what's bothering me. It's like, why are we taking Krypton and making it dystopian fiction? Why are we putting, 20-year-old characters where they don't belong? These Teen Titans, I assume, are not even teens. They're 20-somethings probably in this new series, right?
I would assume, yeah.
Okay. My thing is I feel that the superhero, we need a new direction, because I watched The Flash on CW, and I really liked Season 1. I really liked Season 2. I don't have a problem with Season 3. I just had to give up because of the repetitiveness. And I do not like the perfunctory plot lines at this point in superhero stuff. And I just, like something like Detective Chimp, that sounds fresh to me. Obviously, the Blue Beetle, I think, is also very fresh because he's like a Spider-Man and a Batman. It's interesting, but they have to find a way, because I like the movies. I like each story. I even watched Avengers Infinity War again on the plane yesterday.
There you go.
I like how we wrap the story up in one movie. I'm just not drawing to the TV series the same way.
Well, Netflix might be learning a lesson.
So you're saying that the Iron Fist series is 10 episodes instead of 13?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 3 episodes shorter than
Yes.
what all the others were.
And I think that's a good thing, because, with the exception of Daredevil, of course, the other shows, they're kind of stretching things out when they shouldn't be. You just have these fluffer, episodes. Like, there's nothing. We're not really advancing the plot, and that's not good.
Well, you take like Jessica Jones Season 1, and I was not a huge Jessica Jones person, but I got to give him credit. Season 1 was fresh. It was interesting.
Yeah.
And you had a villain that was worth.
Yeah, and it psyched you up for Season 2, and only to let you down in Season
Big time.
2. And I don't think that is exclusive to that show. I
No,
think Luke
it's not.
Cage
Had
is
its
another
issues.
one of those shows.
Has issues.
You
Iron
know,
Fist had his issues.
Arrow, clearly another one
Has
of
his
these shows.
issues.
So
Yeah, if you compare the Netflix ones, they don't have an excuse. The DC ones at the CW, they kind of have an excuse, because they're 23, 24 episodes long.
Oh, yeah.
You got to drag that shit out. You're halving it, basically, for Netflix, and you still can't come up with a very tight, cohesive story? Come on,
And you don't
us a
have
break.
the kind of studio control on a Netflix project, because Netflix likes the fact that they don't have strict control
Interference,
over
yeah.
that. They actually
Let
they
you go do your
wallow in
thing.
it, because that's how competition works. You know, they're
let you
like,
do your thing.
Shonda Rhimes leaves the network to come to Netflix. Why? Because the competition is like, hey, we'll get away from you a little bit. And
Right.
that's
We'll
a
give you
big
some
thing.
freedom.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So, did you have a particular character that you thought would be a good idea?
For a TV show, I got to be honest. I love Iron Man, and I always believe that Iron Man's biggest villain is Iron Man. And I know the movies didn't do that. They worked. That's great. But I'd love to really see a study of him, like a character study of how he gets in his own way. But
Okay,
that's
so the
just
true demon in a bottle that you can get away with on network television, that's not like, or so much, not necessarily network, but you could put on Netflix or something.
Yeah, something with some dramatic weight.
A little teeth to it.
And I
little
think
bite.
like The Flash has dramatic weight that works, and I don't see why that wouldn't work for Iron Man.
Right, I literally just finished season 4 of The Flash today, to be honest. I was a little behind, but I finished it, and I thought it was decent. What they did with Elongated Man I thought was really cool. That character, not everybody knows, but now a lot of people know him, and that makes me happy to get these C and D level characters, heroes and villains, get more notoriety. I appreciate that very much. I did, when you were talking about that, I did come up with an idea, though, for kind of not quite a character study, but something that I think would work very well within the wheelhouse of like an HBO-esque story, and that is The Black Knight. Dane Whitman from Marvel Comics. If you could do that a la Game of Thrones, in
Rome.
Right, and leave him in the past there. You don't necessarily have to have him in the future. Just leave him in the past, and he's got this ebony sword that can cut through everything, but it's cursed, so it'll eventually drive you mad and take you over if you use it too much. And like people around him trying to, usurp him and take over the kingdom and so on and so forth. I think that could be a very cool little story. Even like if you threw Fin Fang Foom in there as like this dragon character that comes to attack the castle and stuff. These little things that you could throw in, monsters and so on and so forth.
Also, Demon from DC, Etrigan.
Yeah.
Etrigan.
We talked about that, didn't we, for Justice
Amazon.
League Dark
Justice
or
League
something?
Dark
Yeah.
or something. So yeah, if you wanted to get really hardcore like that, that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. So yeah, you could do these like period pieces, so to speak, that I think that would work very well. Did you have another one in mind besides the Demon?
Well, real quick, our good buddy Jared, for our co-host, the Fool Killer would be an interesting one.
Oh yes, that
And
would be.
And you it'd be like a cool dark comedy.
Yes, Jarrett, that one's for you, the Fool Killer. We think that you would enjoy that.
It'd be great, like on HBO or Amazon. As a cool,
Right.
dark comedy.
And I always thought that also the Secret Six. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but there's this comic book. It was called The Secret Six, and the story actually started on the cover of the comic. And you would flip the page then, and then it continued on into the comic book. But there was like all this mystery and intrigue and stuff, and it was almost like a Suicide Squad meets a Mission Impossible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was a really cool idea and concept. So I thought it would be great that since they've already introduced the Suicide Squad into the movies, can't go back on that. Just leave it where it's at. But you can do the Secret Six. And each week you would have a different character join in. Not every character is going to make it out alive. So you have a character that, dies that might have been there since the beginning. And then a new character steps up. And, you just keep rotating to keep it fresh. You're always introduced to a new character, a new hero, a new villain, or whatever that's working with the group.
And you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Exactly. Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, as a thought, and obviously you have to compete with budgets because, doing a movie with a superhero obviously looks so expensive, it looks so pristine in these TV shows. If they could get a budget, I'd love to see like a Dick Tracy TV show because there's a vibrancy to Dick Tracy that I just think is outstanding.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's so interesting.
Absolutely.
And it's got that old Prohibition feel as well. And yeah, I would love to see that revived.
That would work. That could be like a Starz or a Showtime or something that would compete with HBO to kind of get that grit.
Yeah, the more the violence aspect, not
Yeah.
the vulgarity so much.
Right, yeah, the violence I would completely agree with. You can have that, and you don't have to so much make it comedy, like comic-like you would like the movie.
Right.
You could make it a little more realistic, a little more gritty, yeah. You could make it work that way. I agree with that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Same thing with The Phantom, I think, could work as a television series.
Because it didn't work as a movie.
Unfortunately.
It worked. It definitely worked in my eyes, gentlemen. I love that movie.
Up there next to The Shadow with you, I assume.
It's right up there, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I love The Shadow, too.
Although I agree Darkman's awesome.
Darkman is awesome, yeah. We will agree with that. But with that, we're gonna call it on this one. We'll probably have a part 2 on this because this was a lot of fun to talk about. Just some random characters we'd like to see in television. I think that's always fun to do. And if you guys out there in podcast land have any ideas and you want to let us know, please email us. And if we like it, we'll mention it or
Leave a comment.
Yeah, comment on our YouTube or something.
Make
Facebook.
sure you do it, guys. They're encyclopedias of superheroes. They've spent many years of their life actually not looking for summaries. They've read the books, people.
We've lived it. But with that, thank you for coming out, guys. Please check us out on Instagram,
YouTube.
Twitter,
Instagram
again,
Instagram
YouTube again, iTunes,
Kevin's foaming at the
Facebook.
mouth right now.
Yes, he needs a cookie. He's hypoglycemic, so he needs a cookie. But
MySpace.
yes, MySpace. Check us out on MySpace. You won't
Friendster.
find us, but you can check us out there.
Find us on Friendster.
LinkedIn. How's that a thing still? I don't
It's
know.
owned by Microsoft. That's why
So-
it's a thing.
It
I
means
guess.
something.
Yeah, so's the Zune, right?
It is. I still have it soon.
Well, with that, thank you guys for listening. And as always, we'll see you.
At the comic shop.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.